Hello, viewers. I am Kshitij Naik and I welcome you all to our podcast, which is conducted by our very own Free Legal Aid Club of MIT WPU School of Law. And today we are here to discuss a theme which is very rarely discussed in our society, something that is very niche and gets rarely some limelight in the public discourse. And to discuss that theme, we have with us Dhairya Pandhi and Raghvi M. Kulkarni. And the theme for the day is honor crimes and gender-based violences, understanding the law, protection, and the pathways to safety. So, a very good morning, Dhairya, and a very good morning, Raghvi. Uh, so before we delve into the discussion and the entire discussion related to this topic, I would first like to set a base to the entire discussion, something that would felicitate the discussion further smoothly. So, Dhairya and Raghvi, to begin with, I would like to, I would like to have a collective perspective towards this, and I would like to ask, when you both hear the word honor, we often imagine that it comes with pride, dignity, and a lot of things. But in India, this same word has become a justification for controlling someone's personal choices. Like, so the larger question is, what does the term honor mean to you in the cultural context that you both have grown up? And do you think that the society has twisted the idea of honor to the point where it is now used to excuse violence and justify it? So yeah, the Dhairya, if you would like to begin.
Thank you for the question. When I think of honor, the meaning I grew up with was rooted in integrity, the courage to uphold and do the right thing even when nobody is watching. But in many parts of India today, that meaning has been distorted. Honor has stopped being an internal moral compass and has become an external performance, something measured by community gossip, caste experience, and patriarchal notions of control. Today, honor is often treated as property of the family attached to a daughter's choices or a son's relationship. The twisted understanding directly contradicts Article 21 of the Constitution, which protects an individual's right to life, dignity, and autonomy. When honor becomes something you can lose because your child loses their partner or chooses what to do, what to wear, or how to talk, it is no longer honor. It is social ego, crisis disguised as tradition. Violence in the name of honor is not a cultural value, it is a constitutional violation of the highest order.
Okay. Raghvi, if you would like to add.
Sure, sure. Very well said, Dharya. I completely agree with him. For me, honor ideally means respect, dignity, freedom, value something you follow, right? But culturally and the environment that we've grown up in, the actual meaning of honor has been completely twisted, Kshitij. And it's not how it should actually be defined. It's actually defined in our society. It's defined by how others view you, how others view your family reputation is at stake. If you notice, if you observe, the external perception overpowers an individual's autonomy, specifically women's autonomy. If you look at a few states like Haryana, Rajasthan, UP, and there's a data by the NCRB, National Crime Records Bureau, that most of the honor killings and such crimes take place because of such social structures and caste and community pressure. So definitely, the society has twisted the actual meaning of.
Okay, thank you. Thank you to, both of you. I mean, we have understood the basis and the grounds for the word honor. And moving forward, I would like to specify things a bit. So, Raghvi, as you have very well explained the very concept. The next question is something that is very much directed to a woman, listening to this podcast. So, Raghvi, as a woman, do you feel that the burden of maintaining the so-called family honor has historically fallen on women, and whether it's about let's say who they talk, who they love, what they wear, or how they behave, all the things, so why do you think women's autonomy is seen as a direct threat to family pride in many households?
Thank you so much for the question, Chitij. This is A wonderful question, something that we must discuss. I completely agree with this. Absolutely, in every household, you see this burden always falls on the woman's shoulder. It's not just tied to the woman entirely. It's about their body, their behavior, their I'd say existence overall, even the little things, whom you talk to, whom you discuss stuff with, whom you hang out with, everything. So, especially when a woman exercises her autonomy, what do I mean by that? When she exercises her rights, it's seen as a threat to the family. It is seen as okay, she is overstepping her boundaries. It's seen like she's breaking the structure that has been normalized over so many centuries in the society. I'd like to highlight this study by UN Women that states that most of these brutal crimes happen because of one primary trigger, that the woman was exercising her rights, that she was doing what she felt was right to her. So that's what I.
Okay, thank you, Ragbi. So, Dhairya, from a male perspective, boys often, grow up hearing phrases like "protect your sister," "don't let her talk to other boys," or "girls from this family behave in a certain way," so on and so forth. Many such things, right? So, do you think young men are conditioned, often unconsciously, into believing that controlling women equals protecting honor? So, have you personally witnessed such attitudes among your peer or family circles, and what would you like to add to this?
Yes, I have seen such instances closely firsthand. And coming to your first question, yes, men or as young boys are often unconsciously conditioned that protecting women or controlling women is equal to controlling honor of the family or the society at large. Boys grow up continuously hearing, protect your sister, go with her, don't let her go outside after 5 p.m. alone, who she's talking to, don't let her dress that way, and so on and so on. This conditioning normalizes patriarchal control. However, it is important to note that under the provisions of BNS, that is the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, controlling someone's mobility or communication can amount to wrongful restraint or criminal intimidation. Yet, society has not only normalized it, it has praised it in the name of protection. I have seen peers justify invasive behavior as care. They don't realize that they are controlling and participating in a system that strips women of their very bodily autonomy and their very own dignity. When an authority is presented as a male is equal to protection and female is equal to dishonor to the family, we go against the very fabric of the constitution. And that is not just morally wrong, it is completely unacceptable by law too.
Okay. Thank you, Dhairya. And this has, I mean, broadened the entire idea of the discussion. Now, I wanted to actually delve into the specifics, but as you have answered it very correctly, and I have understood the entire picture. I would now like to understand the social roots of how this entire thing happens. Now, there is this question that I want to ask to both of you, and I would like both of your perspectives to be kept on the table. So, when we speak of, let's say, caste, patriarchy, and hierarchy, it plays a huge role in honor-based crimes. Would you say honor killings are not just about family reputation, but also about maintaining social power structures? How deeply do you think these systems influence the decision taken in the name of honor? There, if you may.
Yeah. So these fears or this system is not about caste or about individual honor. I'd say it goes fundamentally into the fear of society, or as we say, what will these people say? What would the society say? And in fear of being presented as good or being presented or considered ideal in the society, or as we say in the samaj, in the mainstream society community, we we start tending to control our sons and daughters to an extent that we go into the very minute detail of what they wear, who they talk to, who they go with, who they study with, who they fall in love with, or what they even wear.
And this applies to both the genders, not
Yes,
Yeah.
it applies to both. Whether who a boy is loving, who a girl is talking to, what she is wearing, or whom a boy is sitting with.
Ragni, if you may add to Dhairya's.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Absolutely. 100%. I'd like to divide this into two, Kshitij. You spoke about the caste system, the patriarchy. I feel all of that is a foundation for sure. Yes, the system, patriarchy, the caste, the structure, obviously. But another facet of this is fear, like Daria mentioned, fear of losing your social status, fear of embarrassment, fear of being judged. So you mentioned of honor crimes. It helps maintain these structures, and you know what? It feeds pride of such people. It feeds pride, and it reminds those people, the ones who want to control women specifically, that you cannot break this system. You cannot break this structure. And you also mentioned about falling in love and choosing your partner. This aspect falls there as well. So this is something that is very deep rooted.
Okay, so this is, I mean, if I have to sum it into a very layman's language, it is all about what log kya kahenge.
True,
It
very
is,
Very
true.
truly said,
Very
very
true.
truly
so
said.
it's all about what log
I mean,
It
kya
is
kahenge.
not community honor, it is just the fear of embarrassment in the society.
Perfect, perfect. So we have basically understood the entire meaning, and I believe the viewers have also understood it. Now, moving forward, as you both are students of law, and you both are in your second years, you have studied mostly what the law is all about. Now, coming to the aspect where we want to discuss where the law stands about the entire aspect, and I would like to begin this by asking to Ragvi that many people don't know that India doesn't have a separate honor killing law, right? Instead, cases are handled. Let's say they were handled under the IPC. Now they are under the BNS. Let's say sections on murder, kidnapping, and conspiracy. So, can you explain why this lack of a dedicated law makes prosecution harder, and how victims currently have to rely on broader criminal provisions?
yeah, thank you so much for the question. Let's begin by understanding how brutal honor killing is. It is a heinous crime. It is a cognizable offense, and not a lot of people know about this. You would be surprised to know that the people, the citizens of our country, do not have a very good legal awareness of our laws. And yes, we do not have a separate legislation or an act or law for honor killing for such crimes as much as we have for murder and conspiracy. And after the enforcement of the new criminal code, that is the BNS Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, honor killing is viewed under murder, that is under aggravated murder, if I'm not wrong, under section 103.
Yes,
Under
correct.
section 103. But it is a very, not having a different legislation becomes problematic when, because it doesn't define motive.
Correct, correct.
Crucial aspect when you look at criminal law, and especially when it comes to honor killing, motive is very important, Kshitij. Because as far as I've observed, honor killing is not just an act of one person. It involves many actors in the whole act. So motive is not seen. You spoke about the lack, right, of not having such a legislation. It creates a gap, I say. It creates a gap between have the awareness and the accessibility. So yeah, that's
Okay, so Dhairya, I would dwell into a bit of technicality in this. So I believe you might have heard about the case of Shakti Vahini versus Union of India. So the Supreme Court in this case gave strict guidelines to stop honor killing, right? Like a setting up of safe houses, special cells, and police protection, etc., etc. But do you think people at the ground level are even aware of these protections? And are young couples or women specifically in danger, women in danger, properly informed that the law can protect them before violence occurs?
This is an excellent question and one that touches at the grassroots of the causes and why couples hesitate to or why do not get protection immediately.
Correct.
For the sake of viewers' knowledge, Shakti Vahini versus the Union of India, the Supreme Court ordered creation of safe houses, special police cells, 24/7 helplines for couples or individuals facing threats from a particular community or the family, and district level preventive measures. It also mandated that in case anything doesn't work out, you can directly go to the commissioner's office or district police headquarters, and they are mandated to give you immediate police protection and then go into the details. However, the ground reality over here is local law enforcement doesn't always follow this. And main cause of it is local community pressure, because local law enforcement, it is common knowledge, comes from that local community itself. So the law enforcement or the police also hesitate in registering FIRs or taking action in such cases. And another cause is that these knowledges or these sessions and legal aid awareness campaigns run by many authorities and NGO are also limited to tier 1 and 2 urban cities and urban areas. They fail to go into the grassroots of Indian fabric, that is villages, that is rural areas, where this knowledge or this awareness is needed the most. So, in summary, couples don't know, the couples who actually need it are not aware of it, and second is community pressure on the law enforcement to not take any action. As a result, the law enforcement often sends the couple back or just informs the family members that don't do this, which in turn results in even more violence, because now it is treated as that you took the family honor and family issues to outside and you dishonored us even more.
Correct, correct, correct. So it is more of a psychological.
It is a more of a vicious cycle couples are trapped in.
Correct, correct. Now, I mean, again, posing a question to both of you. Yeah, right. Both have very well explained the technicalities and the law involved. But I would also delve into a bit of a qualitative question here. That, victims often avoid approaching authorities because the threat comes from their own family, as Dhairya rightly mentioned right now. In your opinion, what are the biggest barriers that prevent young people from seeking help? Fear of, let's say, fear of retaliation, as he mentioned, or economic dependency, emotional attachment, or the belief that the police won't take them seriously. What is it?
Do you want to?
Yeah.
Kshitij, you've already mentioned most of it. Um, most of these crimes happen unknowingly in their households. Majority of the cases, you take any of them.
Correct.
The core of not having to approach somebody for this is all of the factors that you mentioned, the fear of retaliation, and obviously going back to what we discussed earlier of log kya kahenge. A lot of people consider this as a private matter, okay, ye ghar mein ho raha hai, why do we need to take it elsewhere? This is our matter, why does this have to be reported? A lot of people don't even realize that, hey, this is actually a legally recognized crime. And then again we have economic dependency, and then there's a role of emotions that play a role here. Emotional conflict. Am I going to be labeled as XYZ if I approach somebody? So I think that's how it.
Okay, okay. Dhairya, if you may add.
Yeah, so as Raghavi has mostly covered it, and which is 100% true, I'd like to add a few points to this. To understand this, that why there's underreporting or why people or couples hesitate to approach the authorities at the right time, we need to look at the fundamental levels. That is, when these people were growing up as children, boys have seen that being normalized in their families. Girls of the family or the daughters also see and hear from their mothers or their fathers that this is normal, this is not just normal, this is what has to be done, and as a result it is normalized. So people completely disregard the fact that what's happening is a very unlawful activity and punishable under the penalty of law. And as Raghavi rightly mentioned, then there is the fear of retaliation, social, economic, and emotional. A lot of people, which is a fact on ground, that most of Indian families are such the dynamics are such that people are very much connected to their family emotionally, so they hesitate in taking action even when they know that this is a crime.
Okay, okay, okay. So that said, that you have very well explained the entire thing. Now, I would like to, move forward, and we would like to discuss a bit of gender-based violence. There are much of unspoken realities that that we need to address. So, Ragvi, as one of the biggest hidden forms of violence is the abuse women face inside their own homes, right? What do you think stops women from reporting gender based violences by family members? Let's say fear of breaking the family unity, emotional guilt, many things. And how does social stigma, first of all, act into all of this? And how strong is the psychological hold of family honor in silencing women?
Thank you for the question. Now, domestic violence is also has a huge scope. Okay, we are not just talking about physical abuse here. We can be discussing emotional abuse. We can be discussing verbal abuse. We can be discussing sexual abuse. There's intimidation, right? But why do women stay silent? Because again, we go back to the same things that we discuss about patriarchy. Historically, women have been given the role to carry the family reputation or the status. So again, women feel like, okay, this is my responsibility to keep the family together. Maybe if I report this, it will break the family apart. Or a lot of times it's said it's internalized. It's internalized, and people within the family who know that okay, this is going on will say, "Are yaar, adjust kar lo yaar tum." Have you heard this? So
Yeah,
this is
very true, very
this is
true.
very very common anywhere you go, Kshitij. And obviously, we look at upper middle class, but we need to focus in the other stratas as well, where a lot of women do not have financial dependency. So it becomes very difficult for them to report. And then again, awareness plays a huge role. There's no people are not aware that hey, this is a crime.
Hmm. Okay. So, Dhairya, now coming to you, society often labels controlling behavior, like let's say restricting women's movement, checking her phone, or monitoring her friends, which we discussed in the last part of the set of questions. So, it is somewhere disguised as care, protection, and stuff like that. Do you think these normalized behaviors are early red flags of violence? And how important is it for men to recognize and challenge these subtle forms of control?
Absolutely, yes. These behaviors are not only red flags, early red flags of further violence or crime, these acts in individuality are also crimes under BNS and DV Act.
Correct.
Checking of person's phone amounts to invasion of privacy, restricting their movements or keeping a check on who she meets or who she is friends with amounts to criminal intimidation and at times criminal confinement too. Under the DV, men must recognize that love or care cannot take the form of control, or better yet, the correct word would be restraint over here.
Over it. Correct, correct, correct. So, thank you, Dhairya, for your insight. And now I would like to move towards the awareness and the application part of this entire concept of gender-based violences. Uh, Ragvi, many people still think that domestic violence means only physical injury, right? But under the Violence Act, that is the DV Act, emotional abuse, insults, humiliations, financial control, sexual violences, and even threats account as domestic violences. Yeah. So why is it crucial for women and even for men, which I would prefer Dhairya to answer? It's to understand the full scope of this law. Yeah, Ragvi, you may begin.
Yeah. Why there is only one single answer to this, Kshitij, that this is unlawful, this is illegal, this is not something that's to be normalized.
Correct, correct.
It's I do not know how to frame this, but it is insane how common this is in so many households. So yes, like I mentioned before, the scope of the Domestic Violence Act is huge. It involves I'll repeat again: emotional abuse, verbal abuse, threats, stalking, like you mentioned, that is
Yeah.
also harassment, sexual violence, humiliation, intimidation, all of this. And it's important to understand this as soon as possible so that we can report majority of them.
Okay. Dhairya, before you put in your perspectives, I would just like to add a slight of info to this, and I would like you to answer it collectively. So, what are the major misconceptions? As you mentioned about the DV Act, she also mentioned about the DV Act. What are the major misconceptions about the Domestic Violence Act? For example, like people think it breaks families, or there are many things like that. People look at that act in a very negative sense. So I would like you to address that as well, and even you to put the men's perspective on this aspect.
Yeah. So, as Raghavi rightly mentioned, under the DV Act, abuse is not just physical, it amounts to emotional torture, humiliation, financial control, which is important to note. And coming to men's perspective on this, after Hira Lal, before this, it was a common misconception that only men can be charged under the DV Act. However, in Hiralal Hasora versus Kusum Hasora, the Supreme Court struck down Section 2Q of the DV Act, which said that only, which made it married men and replaced it with and accused. So, under the new provisions after 2016, the court itself has accepted that even women, the wife or the mother-in-law or any person connected in the dynamics involved in the torture of the wife or anybody in the dynamics can and should be charged under the DV Act. That was a major misconception that DV Act is only female centric. It was, but however, it is not. After 2016, it is not.
Okay, okay. Thank you both of you. Now we are moving towards the end of the podcast, and before we take the leave of our guest, would you would you like to pose any solutions, or for that matter, any of your viewpoints in front of the viewers, and something that you would like to convey through this podcast?
Yeah.
Kshitij, I think one really important aspect in all of this, no, is mindset. Mindset. Parents need to shift their mindset from thinking that their child's autonomy, their child's rights is not an extension of their social status. We really need to move from okay, log kya kahenge, to make sure that hey, is my child happy? Is my child safe? Are they respected? So mindset plays a
Very true.
very
Very true.
important role. Advice, I mean, I'd say looking from a legal perspective, keeping the social lens
Aside, yeah.
aside for a bit, documentation is very important. Document whether we're talking about honor killing, the abatement, or whatever conspiracy. Make sure to document each and every incident, each and every text, each and every message, whatever that you have, so that you can approach the rightful authority, and obviously to make sure that you approach as soon as possible.
Okay, Daria, if you may.
Yeah, as rightly said, documentation is very important in prosecution. Coming to reforms that I'd suggest is, as Raghavi has correctly summed it up, we need to move from the log kya kahenge mindset to what is good for my child or what is good for his or her mental health. And coming to actual practical on ground solution, as we have sensitized crimes against children in POSCO cases by way of textbooks and educational institutions, we need to introduce curriculum in schools only, that what is right, what is wrong in aspect of domestic violence and honor killing, so that the nourishing or the conditioning can be counteracted. And other solution is district level education of grassroots village families. And over here, I'd say a huge onus is on young men, which would be around our generation, I'd say 16 to 21, 23, I guess. It's a huge responsibility. Men must reject the idea that masculinity is equal to control. They must challenge those sexist jokes, harmful traditions, and controlling behavior among peers. Men must become allies, not silent spectators. Only then can we dismantle the patriarchal system that fuels this honor based violence.
Thank you so much, Dhaira. Thank you so much, Ragvi. It was great speaking to you. You have, you have set the bar for understanding this entire concept, and I believe that your knowledgeful insights are going to help millions of people outside who will watch this podcast and understand how the entire social framework is putting pressure over them, and how can it be challenged, and how is the law is how the law is self sufficient in protecting them. It's just that they need to be vigilant and take care about it. Thank you so much. Thank you once again. And to the viewers, thank you for listening to us. We'll meet soon in the next podcast. Thank you.